I'm not trying to sell you any LUTs because I don't have any LUTs to sell, but I do find it very interesting how cinematographers, whether it's narrative or commercial, go about using LUTs because they don't act like it's just a filter that would go on top of your image, but they kind of go about using it as like a digital film stock because different looks might react differently. It might change how you expose or how you white balance depending on the digital film stock, because like you wouldn't shoot a 250D film stock like you would a 500T film stock. Having a look in mind before shooting or while you're shooting just lets you keep that control. How they go about it in bigger stuff is like the cinematographer and the colorist get together and during pre-production and they create a look that would go on top of the monitors, that would go, to every monitor, to DIT, so that, the cinematographer at the day of shooting has an idea of what they would see. At the end of the day, the final grade might look a little differently than what you saw on that day, but in general, the look, the DNA of the look, the DNA of the film stock stays the same. We can also approach this the same way, and there are a couple of different ways of doing this because there are a couple of different types of LUTs. So let's start with the most vanilla one. Hey Siri, turn on the TV. This is a LUT that transforms your log image to Rec 709. It's nothing too fancy. It comes in the cameras, it comes in monitors and blah, blah. Let's just get to the fancy stuff. Now the fun stuff. So think about the creative LUTs like your different film stocks. You can choose one and shoot accordingly. And since it's digital, it's not baked into the image. So in theory, you can change the look. Not in theory, you can change the look so easily on fly. You can just choose another film stock, load it into your monitor, and just shoot accordingly, which is not very intentional. And intention is very important at this point because the whole point of this thing is kind of regaining the control that you would normally lose in post-production if you're not involved in the coloring session. And the whole idea is if I get as close to the look as possible in camera, the post-production is also going to be a lot easier. And it's also, you still have control over the whole image because you as a tastemaker have curated the image in a sense. It does give you a lot more control on the day, but it kind of takes away the control from you too because it changes how you shoot depending on the LUT, because the LUT look might be a little more contrasty or the highlight roll off might be a little different, so you would go about it a little differently than you would go another look. These types of looks might be created in a couple of different ways. This could be with a colorist. This could also be that you have bought some LUTs from, I don't know, Colin Kelly, Blaine Westrup, or anyone, and you want to use them. Or it could also be that you really love the DaVinci's own 2383 film point emulation and you want to do that, which I'll show you because I talked about this stuff, and I'll show you how to create the LUTs now. All right, so the idea is very easy. I know that this was an S-Log3, SGamut3 clip, so I'm just going to take that and I'm just going to give this Rec 709 color space and a Cineon film log, and I will just pick my 2383 LUT, and that would mean that I take the log image to 2383 and I will just go, we're just going to go generate light 33 point cube, and then we're going to say 2383 LUT, and then voila, you have it. If you want to do, like, let's say you just want to go to straight Rec 709, but before that you just want to do a contrast adjustment, you can just do a contrast adjustment. Maybe you want to do a little bit of the classic teal and orange thing, just completely turn to 11, and then you want to make it a little warmer, and then you can just go, okay, turn it into a 33 point cube LUT, and then say contrasty LUT, and voila, and then you load it into your monitor, and then you have it. Let's go. There are also exposure correction LUT. These are really practical, especially if you're using ETTR, which is overexposing a little, maybe like a stop or something, and then bringing it down in post to get, less noise. It is a hot topic on the internet, as everything tends to be a hot topic on the internet, but it has its use cases. I have a video about that. You can check that out. And exposure correction LUTs are basically the looks you use, either straight technical or creative, just brought down in post or, pushed up in post and turned it into a LUT. And let's do that actually. All right, so this would be normal Rec 709 footage, but let's say I'm going to use my own LUT for the -1 version or -2 version, or just in general exposure corrected version. We're just going to go to high dynamic range, HDR wheels, and then we're going to map our color space. So this is a Sony S-Gamma3.cine and S-Log3 clip. So I just selected them, and I will just go to this, and I will just go -1 and generate LUT 33 point cube. And then 60. We can do the same thing with -2, and I could do same procedure and then -2 or the 60. And we can also do the same thing with +1 or even +2, or even if you're feeling really adventurous, +3. Gesundheit. We can also do the same thing with 2383 or any other LUT that you want. I would do the same procedure right here, sitting on film log, and I would choose my 2383 LUT. I would open it. So this would be the no exposure correction version, and this would be a version with its one stop brought down. Then I would generate LUT 33 point cube -1 2383, load it into your monitor, and voila. Now, when talking about LUTs and monitoring LUTs and monitors and stuff like that, there's of course two big elephants in the room: LUT quality and the monitor color accuracy. Now, these are both very deep topics in their own way, and they're rabbit holes to go down to. But in general, you want a monitor to be calibrated or as good as possible, that it gives you the right look, kind of, and it doesn't give you a green tinty look or like magenta tinty look or like just too cool look or too warm look, because that would mean you would have some surprises in the post-production, which you don't really want that. There's a great video from Cody, which I'll put somewhere around here. And when it comes to LUTs, there's so much talk about LUT quality. I'll try to link some videos down below, but in general, you don't want your LUT to change your middle gray. And I think that's a very important point. But again, both of these subjects are very, very deep subjects, and very, yeah, just the tip of the iceberg. These stuff are just the tip of the iceberg. It's a very deep rabbit hole. I'll just link some videos down below, and you might want to check them out, and just be careful in general. But with that being said, I'm thinking I don't have anything more to say. So hope this helped you in some way, and I'll see you in the next one. And if you have any questions, do let me know. All right, bye. You want to do it one more time, the whole thing one more time. I find